Mr. Cox.
There we are again.
Hello. Indeed, there we are again. Because it has been a long time. We have not been sued. We have not been cancelled. It's just life and work and things. And we have to come together in Italy, in Milan, in order to do those podcasts. So it has been a time, but it's before Christmas. We had a little bit of time, and we yesterday thought that we will do in this episode a little bit of a review of what we did so far. So we'll talk about our past episodes, if anything changed that we said and discussed there. But before we start, Reggie,
tell me.
I think this is the 4th or 5th time I'm in Italy. How long does it take to accept Italian traffic as the thing it obviously is, a constant state of avoiding accidents?
Yesterday I was painfully reminded that the problems in Italy are not in front of you. They are coming from the back. I was standing at the left side of a crossroad to go on a roundabout. There was no room on my left side. I was at the sidewalk side, and still a scooter managed to push itself through. So I'm driving on the roundabout, and the scooter passes me on like 20 centimeters of space. These guys
are nuts. They're completely nuts.
The white lines are guidelines, so they use them as to cut the corners. So you have this nice white line showing where you should be with the car, and they always go inside of that white line. So they are always doing something Monza or Maranello related, always.
I think yesterday I had an epiphany. I think it's that Italians are just very, very in tune with God. They just trust God that nothing happens. Because otherwise I cannot explain the way they drive. It's impossible.
Don't drive an expensive car, that's one thing for sure.
True. Or be quicker than anyone else.
Also, you have good insurance, and especially the all risk.
Good, let's do this review. Where should we start? I have the list of episodes that we did so far. We can talk about them. Is there anything podcast related that you experienced that you want to talk about maybe?
I would say that we have been trying to add something to the culture of online testing, or trying, because testing has been, for me it's difficult because I actually have to test the products in their full extent, what they can and cannot do, according to the guidelines of the manufacturer, according to maybe changing some dilutions into higher dilutions or lower dilutions. And I'm happy to see that some of these things are being picked up everywhere else. And I'm not sure if it's because of this or in general, but the fact that they are becoming a little bit more critical into testing these products. But again,
True.
As soon as the word paid promotion is there, it's, you have to, I would say, give it a little bit of a, critical, you have to stay critical somehow. I keep telling, don't trust me, don't trust the words I'm saying, verify them for yourself, to try to start building a trust based on the results that I give in the videos or in the demonstrations, and that they are recreatable in real life, and that they are not over-exaggerated. We don't fake dilutions and say there's only 1 ounce inside, but there's actually 3 ounces inside, and stuff like that. So in that retrospect.
That's a very good point, because I also think, or let's say sometimes I think things change for the better. And then sometimes I also think as soon as people start to worship certain heroes or people, or just guys and girls they follow online a lot of the critical thinking goes out of the window.
Yeah, and I think and if you are critical, so there is something as constructive feedback, something like this. Yeah, let's call it constructive feedback. You can look at it from a negative side, or you see it as an opportunity to improve.
Yeah.
And nowadays, when you give criticism, say, okay, compared to this product, I have to pay more. You're immediately a troll. You're immediately point into a direction that you're a negative person.
That has been one strategy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Critical people have been called just trolls. Yeah.
Yeah. And if it's the truth, then the truth should always be present. It should always be number one. First thing is the truth, and then second, then in the how-to. But the truth should always be the same. And all these bullshit stories and claims and stuff like that with these magical ingredients that we cannot see or anything.
Plus, it should never matter when we talk about content. It should never matter who the content is from. So when I hear the argument, yes, but Ivan, Pan, whoever said, and that's the argument, it's the closing argument, then I have difficulties with it. It should always be about the content, present your sources, present ideally scientific sources, do your own testing, but it should never be he said, she said, and that's the end of it.
True.
We should stay a little bit more critical than that.
Yeah, because they're not getting, I see the products are not getting any better. The marketing is getting better, but the products are not getting better.
Do you? Really? That's an interesting topic. I wrote that down to discuss. Are there any products, product categories, raw ingredients that you think have changed in this year, maybe last year? Because I think some products have drastically improved.
There is one thing. It's probably a culture thing. Culture from the polishing point of view. The culture has been changing into people want speed and efficiency and a lot of results with little effort.
Is that a new thing?
No, it's not a new thing, but it's becoming more and more aggressive because I see other brands using the same type of chemicals inside, and then not 100% clear if they are in the danger level inside, or are they just there inside, or are they going to become dangerous because you heat the product?
Good point. Let's talk about that, because I think that's one of the episodes we did was, can car care kill you? I'm not sure if we talked about that aspect in that episode, but we did a little bit of research this year in regards to polishes, because we saw this development that certain manufacturers, unfortunately we have to name it, it's mostly American brands, are using stuff like naphtha in their polishes. Some disclose it, some hide it behind trade secrets. It's literally trade secrets written in the SDS sheets, which is not ideal on itself, but they use stuff like that. And I guess naphtha is a cheap way to give people the polish that they want. And other manufacturers maybe do not write it in there and it's not as easy to see in those SDS sheets. And then I contacted some of the manufacturers, and there always was this argument, it's not enough in there that we have to disclose it. It's not enough in there that we have to put a warning sign on it. And that's the most interesting one. 2 manufacturers told me, yes, it's in there, but it's not dangerous, or it's not considered to be dangerous, and we don't have to disclose it because of the state that the polish is in, so a paste and not a liquid, and because it does not evaporate. And we then had an interesting discussion where I think you said, why don't these manufacturers just give us a polish without the stuff in it? Because polishes, most of them tend to dust at some point, and there will be some form of evaporation, especially if you heat those polishes up, and polishes do heat up. That was a very interesting thing that I think was created out of the episode that we did, Can Car Care Kill You? And that's a development we saw, yes. More and more of those polishes, especially the American ones, with the nasty stuff in it.
Yeah, and it's not, so for me, it's not a problem that the stuff is inside. The problem is that it's not disclosed that it's inside. If you look at REACH CLP regulations, it does not matter the amount of toxicology the product consists. It's not amount, it's that you have to state it's in there. So in REACH, if there is a 0.01% of a certain toxicology chemical inside, you have to mention it. It's not going to affect your health because it's that low of a concentration, but you have to mention it's inside. And then you see the difference between legislation is that you can just hide by naming something trade secret.
That's unfortunately something we found out. There is, when it comes to SDS sheets, there is a huge gray area. Different legislations, different interpretations. It is a gray area.
I will add one. It's because I've been doing this research myself, solely by myself, to find out how PFAS-free we really are.
And with we, you mean Labocosmetica.
And we were the pioneers of being PFAS-free in 2019 by switching every single chemical without the PFAS. Now I'm doing research about this PFAS, how this is going, and depending on where your product is being tested, is it by an independent body, is it by a governing regulation system like the REACH CLP, then you go look further and you find out that the amount of PFAS is over 4,500 different types of PFAS. And if the database of the body that is investigating or testing this only has 2,500 of these PFAS in their registration, because they have been registered as being PFAS, and you have PFAS coming outside of that database, then you are still PFAS free, but there are other types of PFAS in there that are not being registered yet or have not been classified to be PFAS.
Yes.
And this is freaking frustrating because finding factually 100,000% truth that we are PFAS free is now become impossible because we have so many of those PFAS not being registered yet or have not been classified yet.
And to give the listeners and viewers a little bit more background there, PFAS, those are the forever chemicals. That's the other term that is used widely. So let's make a different example. If you have a cake and you claim it's fruit-free, so what you just told us is it may be free of apples, but it may not be free of bananas.
Yeah, there is a...
Because fruit, that's the PFAS, is just a collective term of stuff. And some of these ingredients are considered dangerous or forbidden and should not be in there. And some are not as of today, they may be tomorrow. But that's the game that is played there. So
I think
brands claiming they are PFAS free when they're not 100% honest with it.
Yeah, there's just like with VDA, goes a lot of money behind the testing and independent testing. You have to pay a lot to get products tested without getting a certification, because the certification is only there if you succeed the test. So you are paying for the attempt, not for the success of the test, but for the attempt. Now, for PFAS, it's the same. How much money are these companies that I know don't have a research and development budget or don't have the opportunity to select their own ingredients? Many of them just have to select a mixture of chemicals as an end product, use that in a testing phase, but they don't have any say-so about the buying of the ingredients. And if I look at this company, the amount of effort is being put by a person that is traveling around the world, going to different raw material suppliers to keep finding newer, better ingredients. So that also a research development goes into an improvement of a product and not just another version with another smell and another color.
Not many brands operate on that level, that's true.
You have to have, let's first things first, in order to have research and development, you need to have profit. Because you're putting profit inside of research and development. So if you don't have enough profit, there's not enough budget for research and development. And I know they punch minimum 10% of the profit back into research and development. I also know that if you are mixing, for example, if we are making a new coating, or if they start to make a new coating, every single bottle that he mixes from the particles that he's doing, instead of a big bulk production, is very cheap. But if you have the chemicals in these little bottles, every single test bottle of coating is 200 to 300 euros worth of chemicals inside. So if you make 16 versions, you make 16 times 300 euros, you're already and then your formulation starts, and then stability testing, yada, 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 so blah, blah. So before you have an actual product, you are thousands and thousands and thousands underway. You have to send it to your customers, let them try it. Yeah, and the research and development is the key to grow into an improvement. Yeah.
That explains why we see with some brands such quick cycles with products where they introduce new ones, because the raw ingredient market is very dynamic and they probably found out about these products very quickly. That being said, if someone introduces V2s of their product lines very quickly, they probably do not go that deep into the testing as you just mentioned. Yeah. Stability testing.
We go a little bit the different way. So the person behind the idea of the product has a certain level of pride that before the product leaves the building as a sellable product, that everything is finished. Yeah. And you can do that if you have a large research and development budget where you can just investigate and research.
And time. And patience.
And what we then call a beta version is that if we think we are close to where we need to be, we have a beta version. I cannot give you an example, but there used to be a beta version right there. Okay. to give you a beta version. That beta version then goes to the clients, the customers, the partners, and they try out the product, and then we get some real world testing, and then from that beta version we probably will launch the original product, or the product as it should be. And with many brands you get a beta version that has been lightly tested, is being introduced in the market, using the feedback of the customers that have been using it to make then in a very short period of time a V2 or V3. And in my opinion, it would be smarter to finish your product, spend a little bit more till you have a finished product and launch that. So you know that this is going to be a stable product for the next X months, years before you can sell. Because if you keep changing V1, V2, V3, you have already said that V1 was the greatest of all times because their marketing tells them it's the greatest of all time. So you have the greatest of all time and then V2. So how is the greatest of all time becoming greater?
In that short amount of time.
In that short amount of time. Because I know for sure, if you don't have a lab and if you don't have a chemist and you have to order your products, then you have capabilities that you have to wait until the sample comes. And if the sample is not good, they have to make another sample and then another sample. And that third sample, that's going to push the papers and money, giving you less time to actually research the product.
Yeah, plus that's something I discussed with some brand owners. Those V2, V3s, it's all good and fine if you tell people that it's a V2 on the label with V2 written on it or new formula written on it, because what is extremely frustrating for consumers and also testers, reviewers, is if there is a V2 and you don't know, based on the bottle that you have, is it a V2? Because there's nothing written on it. That is very frustrating, not only for the consumers, but also for the resellers, because they now have old stock, which nobody knows is old stock, so they send those products out to the consumers. They don't know if it's the new version. It's very, very confusing. So if you do versions, then label them properly.
True.
At the very least.
You're absolutely right, because if we launch a new one, we have to wait until stock starts to deplete. So we don't introduce something and everybody is left with the old one, because if it's a V2, that means that V1 becomes obsolete.
And I mean, on the other hand, I understand some brands, if they don't disclose it that it's a V2, because exactly for that. They know that resellers have their old stock, and they know if they introduce a V2 and they make it obvious that it's a V2, probably no one is going to buy the V1 anymore. So the stock is just left there.
By naming it V2, you already say it's better than V1, because or else you would not make a V2, and therefore you make V1 obsolete. And if you say they are equally as good, then you did not make a V2. You give the idea that you made a V2, but there is no V2.
Yeah, plus sometimes changing the consistency of a shampoo, making it thinner, and claiming that to be a huge innovation, it's not that difficult to make a shampoo a little bit runnier. No. It really isn't.
No, Primus 2.0 was a real V2 because we changed so much compared to the original one, but Purifica did not get it to 2.0 version 2.0, although
you changed it a little bit.
Yeah, we increased the performance and we extended the dilution ratio. Yeah. So it was not enough to call that a V2 because the smell is the same, the performance is the same. I would say almost the same. The only thing that changed was the dilution ratios.
Concentration.
And that's it. So it's not enough to call it a V2. We also changed the scent in Ductile. Also, that is not enough to say we are going to make a V2.
Omnia 2.
Omnia
is a good example because you had Omnia, then you had Omnia 2.0. And then I think you changed the scent of Omnia 2 times. Yeah. And only the second time it was actually labeled on the bottle, right?
Yeah. The first time was, I know for sure that in the beginning, neither the big one, the small bottle and the 4.5, neither had a scent. Then something came into the scent into the smaller, but not into the 4.5. That was still scentless. Then there was an actual increase of the real scent, and that became 2.0 new
with
update.
The label. Yeah. I mean, it all goes back to what you said. We as consumers, viewers, listeners need to be a little bit more critical, especially in today's market where it seems to be that claim-based marketing has become considered okay, where you just put out claims that you don't have to actually prove. It's the thing that you said with the PFAS, it's the thing that you said with performance and upgrades and stuff like that. So do you think we changed this critical thinking with the podcast?
No.
Not even a little bit?
Yes, a little bit, but I would not say we maybe made a ripple in the water.
Maybe we made a dent.
Not a
Maybe
tsunami.
we made a dent.
Maybe.
Yeah. Because as I said before, I think critical thinking has improved a little bit, but as soon as people start to trust some sources, directions, resellers, influencers too much, it just goes out of the window. And that shouldn't be. Even with us, you tell it to listeners all the time. Stay critical even if you say something.
Yeah.
And that needs to stay in place.
Yeah, because if this we did some tests, and I got a test from a guy from United Kingdom, Scotland, sorry. Russ, and he told me how he did his Fiero proof, that Fiero did something, improved the bonding and sped up the bonding process. So I asked him for the parameters for the test. So what did you do, in what condition, and what amount? So we tried to figure out, and then I recreate.
Just before you go ahead, for the listeners, Fiero is your finishing polish that also acts sort of like a primer adhesion promoter.
Yeah, let's call
for ceramic coatings.
Yeah, it actually accelerates the bonding of the ceramic coating to its final. In this test, this was the proof, because we have never showed that proof really. We have showed the difference between another product from another brand in the original Fiero video, but that was a product that needed 24 hours to get to where it needs to be.
That you won't say it. I will say it's probably Capro Essence.
Yeah. And it was the goal was to show that immediately after the use of Fiero, you can coat the car.
Okay.
And versus this
that
one,
was your claim.
Yeah. And then we heat up the surface, and then because we heat up the surface before the 24 hours were finished, so that product needed the 24 hours. Amazing product, fantastic. We have been using it successfully for years. And it was to show that heat in the beginning evaporated the particles that were doing that bonding process, and therefore showed that Fiero was the one. Well, this test was completely different, because this test we wanted to show, or at least he wanted to show, that he could prove that if you use Fiero as the base versus naked paint, that your bonding process till the ceramic is fully closed was twice as fast using the infrared heat. So we had twice as fast bonding with the first. You could still remove the coating with Veritas on the un-Fiero side, versus the Fiero side was impossible to remove anymore.
Okay, got it.
So for me, it was very simple after the parameters to say, okay, we go into the studio, I recreate the test and see if we have similar results. And we had the exact same results. Now this is testing. So I do a performance test, and then if somebody recreates it and we get to the similar results, it doesn't have to be 100% the same, but then we can slowly say that we are moving into, we have tested it, and we have confirmed that it's actually true. Yeah. And nowadays, it's because of and I'm going to say fucking YouTubers, and they are changing.
I am one, so he's allowed to say it.
Yeah, but it is. You know exactly what I mean. Is that if I hear somebody say, "Look how dirty the car is," I already go ballistic, because what they show is a little speck of dust. Look how dirty this car is. I go fucking insane for the fact that they say that, and then I look at my own car after a drive, and it's like a freaking nightmare compared to them. Nightmare. And then these words they throw in your face, and then are they not afraid of retaliation and karma for lying so much and literally ripping people off with your bullshit? Sorry, I'm almost cursing again.
I mean, at some point, I almost was willing to start an online training course for YouTubers and influencers. The basic principles of testing. Yeah. Yeah, because there is stuff that we see that it's just not okay. And it's oftentimes show it, not just talk about it. Show the people how dirty the car is, and not just stand in front of your car when you say something adds gloss and look at the gloss it creates. Show it. Yeah. There are ways. Use gloss meters, use reference sections, use tape. You can show this stuff and not just tell people, because then it creates the impression that you're just pushing products.
Even though the paper of the pH paper is not something you can really take 100% value of, but it will give you an idea in what kind of a direction you are without doing them at all. So if you don't use the paper, you have no data at all.
True.
You have nothing.
Again, that's a very good example. Again, that's basic principles of test. Let's give the viewers two examples, a good one and a bad one. A good one, a very recent one is, I think his name is Frank, Detail Dogma.
Oh, the Bill Timber.
He did a video comparing Bill Timber Touchless against your Primus 2.0, so 2 pre-washes. He wanted to find out which cleans better. He did it by applying it to the back of a car. And then he looked at it with a gloss meter. So the theory was the product that leaves the surface glossier has removed more dirt. And he also looked at it with I don't know the name of that device. It measures the darkness of a panel. So again, theory, the darker the panel, the more stuff and haze it removed. That was, for me, you can always be critical about, is that method of testing really what it should be? But it was a very good way. He used scientific methods. He did a little bit of research. I thought that was a good example of what testing should be.
I'm definitely accepting the parameters of the test because indeed, yes, if the surface becomes more clean, automatically we will see a higher number in gloss units.
Yeah. And to be fair, that's also my experience. Bill Timber Touchless is an amazing product and it cleans a little bit better than Primus.
Yeah.
Primus does other things better. It foams better, it smells nicer, but Bill Timber probably cleans better, at least, and that's my only criticism. I think as a tester, you also have to accept and tell people, this is my test with my parameters, because especially with dirt isn't dirt.
No.
The dirt he has is different than the dirt you have, is different than the dirt I have. Because we also had different results, I think, with Libera, with the testing of your traffic film remover. Dirt definitely isn't dirt, and it will change according to where you are on the planet. Again, it also depends on the paint, the state it is in, was it protected, not protected. That should have been said. That all being said, we are very critical now. That was a good example. Bad example, and again, I think he probably thinks we're picking on him, but Pandy Organizer, when he introduced his own products, I think a year ago, he said his shampoo is pH neutral. They used a testing stripe that you just mentioned, hold it in the camera and told people, look, it's pH neutral. Back then, I already said the testing paper is showing something different. If you look at the testing paper, it showed back then in their own video that it was not pH neutral. Slowly but steadily, they changed the messaging. So they changed to say that it's pH neutral once diluted. And now they have, for the V2 that was introduced at SEMA, they said it's not pH neutral anymore. And that, I think, is not only bad testing, it's just either someone with a background in biochemistry who doesn't know about pH values, which is a bit odd, or it's just plain lying because they knew that it's not pH neutral.
I don't understand why you say that it's pH neutral when it's not, and then later go back and say, no, it's not neutral in its original state, it's neutral after dilution.
Exactly.
I don't understand if is that big of a deal that it was a pH of 8, because pH of 8
it was a bit more than 8.
Like, let's say if it's 9, then it's still very light, very light. You cannot say, ooh, exciting chemistry going on. It's just very light. But just say it's not a problem. It's
no.
You just go on your face if people start testing it and go like, hey, wait a second, this is completely not what it is.
And then Ivan, his buddy, I guess they're buddies, went ahead and told people anything between, what was he saying? 5 and 8.5 is considered pH neutral. No, it's not. It's just simply not. We did an episode, you see, it's a good recap now. We did an episode about the truth of the pH value and we discussed it. It's just simply not. This is a term that stems from water quality testing, where they consider anything between 5, 5.5 and 8.5 okay. But that does not mean that anything in that range is considered to be pH neutral. That's just, I think what happened there is they know that for the general consumer, pH neutral is a good thing. Because pH neutral means it's safe. We both know it's not necessarily safe if it's pH neutral, and it's not necessarily necessary for a product to be good if it's pH neutral. But they know that for the general consumer there is. So it's a case of trying to what is the term? trying to eat your cake and have it too.
I remember the foam gun where I was taking out the tube and I got a little speck of neve in my eye.
Yeah.
I found out the hard way that a pH neutral product, per definition, does not have to be completely stinging free, because my eye was on fire from one little drop and it burned more than Primus.
Yeah.
And then the question should rise, why are you such an idiot that you also had Primus in your eye?
Yeah.
Well, that's one of the reasons I'm trying to wear glasses all the time.
Because I will probably never do it. I will never come up with my own brand and products. But if I would come up with a brand, I would not give people pH neutral shampoos or pre-cleaners, because in my opinion there is no point in it in today's market. Any decently resistant protective product does not need a pH neutral soap. I would give people an acidic soap and an alkaline pre-wash. That's all they need. I just skip the pH neutral. So that's what I don't understand. Probably it would be harder for people for the brand owners to explain to people why pH neutral is not necessary. So you need to do a little bit more explaining. But then again, what's the issue with that? Don't be lazy.
Yeah, I would say we have proven so many times that all the protection can handle chemistry very well. And
very well.
It's when you start adding the touch that the products start to suffer, and that's logical because you're adding the friction to the surface.
Yep.
But chemicals by itself, like a pre-wash, if you keep the rules, don't let dry, cool panel, not in direct sunlight, you will be successful with almost every single product. And it's finding out, so if they say it's non-caustic, I challenge you to take a little piece of aluminum foil from your kitchen and then throw a little drop on it, and if it starts to turn white, then you can say it's not a safe product, and then you have to find when it's going to become safe, or which...
That is actually something I observe more and more, that people are getting a little bit more critical in regards to pH values. It's not across the whole board. There still are products like Adam's Wheel and Tire Cleaner, really, really nasty stuff in my opinion, pH 13.5. If you do some basic testing with nails and screws, so metals, unprotected metals, it's really nasty and people don't understand. They just are happy that it cleans well. Yeah, obviously it does, with that aggressive of chemistry. But it gets better. People start asking, what's the pH value of this? Is it really safe? Is it caustic? Does it do damage? It gets a little bit better, but not yet to a point I'm happy.
Agreed. Totally agreed. I'm going to make a video to show one of the Mafra products that has the tendency to become very caustic, and I will show you how you can get to the safe point and how to understand in which region of this product am I always going to be successful and safe.
Yeah.
And that is something very simple to test, and that's something I'm going to do. I'm going to write that down on my whiteboard, because or else I'll forget.
Again, we talked about it yesterday. This little, I would almost call it a trend now in the US, this highly acidic, highly alkaline double tap wheel cleaning thing that we observed. It's dear God, that's a situation where I again think it's not getting better. And again, it's a thing of hero worshipping, just because one detailer, one person, I'm not afraid to call him out, Anthony Santiago, in the Detailing for Money Facebook group, is promoting that technique heavily without telling people the risks of it. I think it's just dangerous, because he then says, yeah, well, people have to do their own homework and it needs, and he expects people to understand the limitation. No, people do not understand it. They think you are some kind of hero for them, so they will just blindly follow what you do, without thinking if it's a good method, if you should use it on carbon ceramic brakes, discs. What does it do to unprotected metal parts? What does it do to nuts and bolts? What does it do to all these suspension parts there?
It comes down to the thing I've been saying for years now, that there are two types of detailing. There's substrate-based detailing and there's result-based detailing. Result-based detailing,
again, you are right.
Doesn't matter what you use, even depleted uranium, they will use to clean a wheel just because it has the before and after and it's very good. Then you
quick and cheap.
Yeah, and then you have the substrate-based detailing. Okay, I'm going to use this wheel cleaner. Is it a good idea to put it on the brake caliper, on the brake disc? Is there a part where this wheel cleaner is better not to go? Same with the deionizers. If you blast it on your brake disc, you get the rust after more than you have before. You know, so think about, and what's it going to do over a long time?
Same with plastic and tire dressings through paint guns.
Yeah. I mean, if it's vaporized, if it's being vaporized or nebulized, and if you can smell it, that means it's going inside you. So if you are using hydrochloric acid 1:1 and 1:4, whatever, and you smell it, you're already going into danger zone and you're already killing yourself. Because if you look up anything with a low quantity percentage of hydrochloric acid inside, it's sincerely stated that if it gets touched with your clothes, immediately remove your clothes. If it gets touched by your skin, immediately rinse until you freaking go beyond the levels, and then it says take this SDS to the doctor if you feel a little bit nausea. It's a culture that started into that these people need to be fast and using.
I mean, to be fair, I get it. You need to be fast and cheap if you don't ask high enough prices for your services. Then you obviously need to be. And I'm also willing to accept that different detailers have different definitions of what a professional detailer is. But for me, the main difference between a professional detailer and a hobbyist is the professional knows how to detail, how to clean a car in the safest way possible. That for me is the definition. So it should not be about being quick and cheap. It should be about being safe, because you're not cleaning your own car. You're cleaning your customers' cars. And you have to re-clean the wheels of your customers every single week because they get dirty so quick. That should be a sign that what you are doing to those wheels is probably not a good idea.
Yeah, you're reducing the lifespan.
You're etching the clear coat.
Yeah.
That's why they get dirty so quick.
Every book, every maintenance book inside of a car will give a guideline how to wash their machinery.
Basic, but yes.
It's very basic. This does give you the steps, but it definitely does not say that you have to use these chemicals. Yeah.
No.
So if it's a real detailer, the detailer is considered to worry about himself, the person of the car he's working on, and the material he's working with for the environment.
True, because it's not your own car.
Exactly.
It's someone else's.
Exactly. If
Pride and joy.
We had a situation like this in very close to my town. An ex-colleague of mine, when I was working in the car wash, used to work in a different car wash. They were using something like hydrochloric acid. It's the same potency and corrosiveness, so to speak. And after a while, many of the customers came back because they had brittle brake discs. They were literally eating up the brake discs. And it was also a short, because the reason they were using this product was because there were too many complaints for cars leaving the car wash with still dirty wheels. So what they did is they
upped the aggressiveness of the chemistry.
They went to a level of aggressiveness, making sure that cleanliness of that wheel was 100% ensured, but the downside or the negative effect from it was that the material that was being cleaned was degrading so fast that it was literally being destroyed. Calipers being dissolved, brake discs being dissolved, becoming brittle.
Because they did not know about the basic principle of chemistry is in a circle.
Yeah.
There are other ways you can make sure those wheels are clean, which are not aggressive chemistry. Aggressive chemistry is one way.
Yeah. And
which comes with downsides.
The more touching you are going to do, the less aggressiveness you should use.
Yep.
So if you are going to use a hammer and chisel, you can probably use a little bit of neutral foam because your mechanical action is so strong that you don't need the performance of the chemical. However, if you are moving to the touchless range, you are relying mostly on the performance of the chemical, and then you are moving in power and causticity and stuff like that.
True.
So as soon as you start doing the detail brush, I understand, okay, there's little bristle action going on, no brushing action except for the makeup type of a brush. Then you need a strong chemical. But if you are moving to a nice strong, what do you call them, the tunnel brushes, or like the toilet brushes, idea, then you have a lot of friction going on and you have reduction of chemicals. That balance should always be there. And what do you see? Because it's, you know, you see TikTok, and TikTok has almost no good detailers because the only thing they can do is clean wheels. You have a 30-minute video, 25 minutes is about cleaning the wheels, and then you have 5 minutes about polishing and coating.
Yeah, true.
And then they spray 15 times a foam rinse foam. It's great for marketing because foaming is extremely expensive. You lose, most of the foam is flying all over the place.
I mean, absolutely. That's 100% true. That's also not the correct method to use 15 different chemicals, spraying it on the wheels, respraying them, using brushes, using the little brushes, the big brushes. That's also not the correct way because it takes way too much time, chemistry, and money.
I'm not going to buy 15 brushes to clean a wheel. The wheel just needs to be clear. I need a little bit of agitation to get the dirt off, and then rinsing.
So all we say for the viewers and also for Anthony and all the others, maybe they're listening, we just say there should be a balance of things. And if you promote aggressive methods, processes, and products, just tell the people about the downsides. And yes, as an influencer, that means every single time. Every single time you promote that method, you need to tell them about the downsides.
On the other side, many of them will not be with us in the upcoming years because they will simply not be able to do their work anymore because they will have incredibly strange diseases, incredibly strange brain
I truly
stuff
hope
like that.
not, but...
I remember the ceramic coating user group. When somebody said, I had ceramic coating in my eye. I got ceramic coating in my eye. What should I do? I mean, this type of level. And then the culture of not wearing gloves, not wearing masks.
True.
It's not cool. Oh, no, I wear gloves when I go to something else, but not with detailing.
But now we are hypocrites because we both also not always wear gloves in our videos.
But there is a big difference between what I do is that my protocol in health, considered from zeolite to anti-parasitic to baking soda to iodine, so heavy metals, cleansing and stuff like that, has been a protocol for me since 10 years. Drinking the real water.
You need to shut up your phone because the listeners will lynch you if it continues to beep.
I don't understand why it's Saturday.
That is Reggie. For the listeners,
we do this extra in the weekend.
That was Reggie's fault.
We do this extra in the weekend.
Please write to we don't care at labocosmetica.it.
No, but my protocol is I understand that I've been testing chemicals a lot with no danger labels on it or a language that I cannot translate, so it doesn't give me anything. And I cannot always rely on the ppm. So even if I have very high quality gloves, there is a margin that says on the box that 0.2% of those gloves are not going to be at the standard of the production. True. But it has been mentioned on the box. So relying fully on the ppm is one thing. Yeah. Next to that, my detoxing in heavy metals, nanotechnology, and BPAs for microplastics is another. Yeah. And of course, sometimes, this week I made a demo video for the matte coating. You see me not wearing a mask, but after, when the camera is off, I put the mask on and do the rest of the car. Yeah. So only for the small demo. Yeah. And then it's about the repeated exposure. Yeah. So do you wash your car once a week? Then you are falling into the range of not so much of a problem not wearing gloves. Are you washing a car every day? That means you're getting exposed to these chemicals every day. Then the repeating exposure becomes a problem because that over time you will get toxic from inside. Absolutely. And most of the diseases that you are getting are just an over-toxification of your blood stream and stuff like that. So.
And I mean, this episode was aimed to be a recap. One answer or criticism that I heard about our podcast on Can Car Care Kill You was, well, we are working with chemistry and every bit of chemistry is bad and it's equally as bad. And to that, I respectfully disagree. There is a huge difference between chemistry, different chemistry, and you can use safer chemistry. You can absolutely use safer chemistry.
Absolutely. The choice is yours.
Exactly, and it's so easy to find out. Look at the SDS sheet. If a brand does not provide SDS sheets, that's already a warning sign. Look at the SDS sheets, look at the pH value, look at the warning statements, look at the ingredients, research and Google the ingredients. It is not rocket science. It's easy.
For the screw of it, I'm going to pick one and then just take this one because we have here, I'm holding up a bottle of
for the listeners,
we have the white section on the back, and then we have the danger label already stating that regardless of what you think, if this is on there, you should wear gloves while you handle this product. It changes when we make a dilution of this because everything about the danger, the risks and safety is about the product inside. That's why when it comes down, the toxicology goes down. But if you're a real brand, you already have the P's, the P351, P338, you have the risks R318. So already on the bottle, we have a lot of warnings how to handle this product correctly. And if you state that, then everything is okay because then people are in the loop about what they are going to do.
And this aspect will get much worse in the future because that's something I know from Sonax. In the EU at least, European Union, you will have in the future, I'm not sure when exactly, when you do promotional stuff, so postings, pictures and videos, you will have to include a part of that section of the label, so the warning signs, the warning statements in your advertising.
Yeah.
That will be very frustrating for content creators and brands.
Because that is where the biggest responsibility lies. They do not take responsibility for the bullshit they are saying. They don't take any responsibility. Their opinions change every single product. So the best is then the best, and then another the best. So you have the best, and safe. Especially reading the label while it's saying it's safe. Products are being made to be sold. So they will do anything possible to make that product appealing to the eye, to make you buy it. The label, size of the bottle, shape, I don't know, scent, all these things to make the chemical. But in retrospect, if that is the sole purpose of a brand to sell their products, then you will see that lines will start to fade into gray areas where they were just going to say, yeah, but.
Yeah.
You know, and it, I mean...
3-year, 5-year, 8-year coatings. If you name your products that way and then have to create videos in which you explain, no, that does not mean that those coatings will always last 3, 5, and 8 years. What the fuck are you doing?
I found it's a good one. I'm not going to say the brand because I'm still researching. It's a pretty fresh ceramic coating brand. It has also a single layer and a dual layer system. Single layer is 8 years. Adding the dual layer or the second layer makes it 10 years. Then I was going into the website trying to find what kind of parameters they have been using to claim this. So I found out the company is now 3 years old. Their flagship released last year, since 1 year. In 2 years since the founding of the company versus their flagship then being provided with 8 years in one layer. Then I go into the SDS and then you see the ASTM and the ISO tests. And when you look them up, you understand the 8 years and the 10 years. Because
it's based on lab testing.
One of them is a fingerprint test.
Yeah.
Was a fingerprint test from the ASTM. One of them was a corrosion test where they just hang a piece of in a terrarium or something like that with salt solution. And the other one was something similar. And that was the only testing they did. So against corrosion, 8-year coating, probably yes. If that coating is still there after 8 years, it will protect after 8 years for corrosion.
That does not mean that this automatically translates into 8 years durability on your car's paint. We are a legend, Reggie, because you now just did a recap on our episode on the durability of protective products.
Yeah, I'll be the first one to say, if Labocosmetica makes a statement about the duration, so the same for TPR, for example. TPR was first for about 2 years and an X amount of washes. Now it's 3 years. And I said, but how did we get from 2 years to 3 years just like that? We said, well, you have a couple of running tests, and as you can see outside, that has been 3 years ago. And I say, okay, so that is the parameter for the test. Okay, so now we understand that it's possible that this product can achieve 3 years. But what the consumer thinks is that by what you're saying it's 3 years, it's actually going to stay 3 years.
Yeah, and the same as it was in the beginning. I remember when we met, it was this year that you introduced TPR, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we met, we did some videos about it, and then you told me that you are very critical about the claims of your own brand or the brand you work for about the durability of that ceramic trim protector or restorer. And then actually, it was not my job in any way, shape or form to do that, but I told you and somewhat calmed you down and said, Reggie, if you actually do proper testing, which means you tape off a section of the trim, apply such a product, and then leave it that way. I have a car, you saw it, the Dacia, which in German we call it the Streifenhörnchen, the squirrel, because it has those stripes at the back and on a plastic piece. You see that those products actually do last quite a while.
Yeah.
I did that test 3 or 4 years ago, and I still see the stripes. So you can actually say they last that long. Is it fair to the consumer because it does not look the way as it looked when those products were applied, but they can. So we still hold each other accountable for the stuff that that we talk about. And also, I mean, most viewers know it, I'm also a Sonax master trainer, so I do the trainings for them in Switzerland. I was, and I'm willing to admit that in public, when they introduced their updated ceramic coatings, end of last year, end of 24, I was the first one to tell them, I don't think we should do that because they doubled the durability claims. Because they said everyone else is doing it. We have our experiences and testing to back those claims up, but they doubled it. So it went from 1.5 years to 3 years. And I said, I'm not a big fan of that. I am your master trainer, but I'm just not a big fan of that. I always liked that Sonax was very careful and very understating of the durability claims.
Yeah, you can,
I like that.
I rather say that it lasts a year, and you can say, okay, it's definitely going to last a year, and everything else is going to be bonus, and then you
And that's the thing from a business perspective that I don't understand. But then again, we often said it, that intelligence is not widely spread in this industry. From a business perspective, there is this business principle called the Kano model or Kano theory, which says if you positively surprise people, it has a much, much, much higher effect than when you just meet the requirements.
Yeah.
Meaning if you say the coating lasts 3 years and it lasts 3 years, people will not be happy with that. It will just be, okay, if you tell people it lasts a year and it actually lasts 3, that's a positive surprise.
Yeah.
And that has an exponential effect on their happiness.
I think so too.
I don't understand it from a business perspective, this claim-based bullshit marketing.
Yeah, because
It would be much smarter to understate and over-deliver.
I would say the same. If we were testing a certain product from a certain coating that is now never going to see the light of day, but that would have been an excellent substitute or an upgrade for one of the existing coatings, and that would be an overperformer. So you will state that you make it for a year, but it's definitely going to outlast a year, even if you start screwing it up a little bit more.
Much smarter.
Yeah, and then you have something really, really impressive, you know, and especially when you claim 8-year coating and you name it 8-year coating, then you give the idea that it's going to last 8 years, but
again, from a business perspective, why you're not going to resell that person a product for 8 years? If you apply it as a professional detailer, you're not going to see that person again for 8 years. Why don't give them a product that you say lasts 1 year, and then they need to buy it yearly or come back to you yearly? Much smarter.
Maybe I'm going to say something extremely stupid. Maybe I'm going to say something that people are definitely not going to agree with. But I do not give, in any case, any form of warranty for an invisible layer that I just put on a car.
No.
Absolutely 0.0. End of the door, warranty ends. What I provide is service. So the installation costs are the cost of the coating versus the amount of time that I need to put the coating on, say 1 or 2 hours, plus some material to wipe the coating off, and that is going to be 2 packs.
Yep.
So a coating installation for me is an extra for the customer that he doesn't have to pay for. What he has to pay for is the part where I'm going to beautify the car that he cannot do, namely the polishing. So he gets the ceramic coating fairly cheap. We're talking definitely less than €400 or $400, more than definitely less. I'm never going to achieve that number.
I'm just going to make sure the camera is still running. Yeah, everything is perfect.
Just in case
because we had the case. Yeah.
So I give the coating, the pay amount of money, and if something goes wrong, say somebody put a box on the car, a couple of scratches or something, I fix that, and I fix that for free. I just fix that for free because the coating is not so much for the customer; it's more for me. I want to see the customer again, and the next time I have to polish the car, I'm going to have a serious reduction of polishing time, and especially when a coating is being supplied with a top coat, that top coat is always going to underlast or underperform versus the base coat. So somewhere in that years, the customer has to return for either a fresh polish, I think every 1 or 2 years of light polish to get the swirls out, adding a new top coat to an already performing base coat, and then you can keep the customer driving. Instead of what you said, indeed, put 1 layer of coating on, give him warranty, because you will go on your face with the warranty. Because your warranty is, you have to...
Again, you can only lose. It's much, much better to tell him, It will probably last 1 year, but you will not get a guarantee. And then it actually lasts 2, 3, or 4, or 5, or 6, or 8. Then giving him a guarantee, saying it will last 8 years no matter what, which we all know is nonsense. And then you have to deal with disappointment.
Yeah.
Much smarter to understate. And I mean, at the end of the day, why do people go to professional detailers? Because they don't know how to detail their cars to that standard. They don't have the time to do it. And most importantly, they go to a professional because they like that look of a freshly detailed car. No matter which coating you put on that car, after, I would say, at the very, very, very farthest, after 1 year, the car does not look as good as it was when it left your garage. So
it will need a touch-up.
Why do you offer those packages and guarantees and warranties and services? It does not. Much smarter to offer those customers a service pack where they come back to you every single week or month.
You see that people are using the ceramic coating not as the main of a protection, but an upsell to create more turnover.
Probably.
So they will give €600 or $600 investment for an installation of the coating. The budget is being cut in half, and there is a little bit money left for the polishing and preparation and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Because the amount of so, for example, they buy one bottle of the 8-year coating, or the 10-year coating, or the 5-year coating, and they can do 3 cars with it. They will charge every single customer the same amount, the 600, 600, 600.
Yeah.
So they only buy it once, and then they make the money.
Yeah.
But you are not giving your customer anything instead of being ripped off, and you will go on your face with the warranty, because no customer understands
100%.
the warranty from our perspective.
No.
Self-cleaning in the eyes of the customer is completely different than for us. Protects against scratches is for us completely different than what the customer thinks. And all these promises that are going to, because the ceramic coating industry is on the brink of collapse because of all the retarded, ridiculous, ignorant, stupid fucking coatings with nothing inside, water and alcohol and 2 particles of coating material, using expensive words. I'm starting to understand polysiloxane, polysilazane. See, this is now after 3 years I can pronounce them. Do I know what they are? Nope. I've never seen them. Don't even know what they look like without the solvent inside.
It's invisible stuff.
Yeah, so I'm putting something extremely invisible because I will beat every single coating in the world with a bottle of WD-40. And then I'll show you. You want to see beating? You come with your coating, I will take a bottle of WD-40. We will see who beats harder. So if it's about the beats, then why should I take a ceramic coating? I mean, the main goal of the ceramic coating is being deducted by the bullshit of the claims from the coating itself.
Yeah.
You know, it's there to protect the paint. So the paint doesn't take the damages that it normally takes. And then we can discuss about how much it is.
Maintenance is easier.
It's simply that the coating has to take in the damage instead of the clear coat. And when the clear coat is not being damaged, then we don't have to polish off the clear coat and therefore can extend the life of the clear coat.
Yep.
That's basically what it does. And then all the things around it is to make it more appealing. But it's invisible. And I've said it many times. So this car's been coating. I said, show me the coating. Yeah, I can't. So why should I believe you that there's coating on the car?
And because it beats does not mean there's a coating on it.
No.
Every half-decent spray seal in today's market does exactly the same. So, exactly the same.
So if you say and you think and you assume, there we go, assumption, I'm assuming that what the product says is true, and I'm assuming that what I'm doing is right, and I'm assuming that if you assume that stuff is going to last 8 years, everybody's going to go on their face. And then you have the variables of a successful installation versus a flawed installation. Taking one of those polishes that has that naphtha inside. Naphtha does not react with the panel wipes that we have. You are polishing a car, you are leaving a shitload of naphtha behind, you are putting your panel wipe on it, you think you are degreasing, then you are putting your ceramic coating on top of the naphtha. It's not going to bond. 2 weeks later the coating dies.
Unless the coating also has naphtha in it.
Of course, if the coating is, but if you go from another brand to another brand, it might not link or might not perform the bonding. And you will not see that it's not bonding. You will find out the customer calling you after 4 weeks, finding out that the coating. And what do? You blame the coating, not knowing that your preparation sucked because you use a ready-to-use panel prep that has 60% of alcohol inside, and you rub a microfiber towel like a quick detailing application, and you assume that you have degreased the car because they say it's a panel prep. Now, I know products that are called water spot remover that do everything except remove water spots. I have seen brushes being called perfectly safe because they are absolutely fucking not.
And the funny thing is, in some of the videos of, let's call it what it is, fans and close friends of those brand owners of the perfectly safe brush, trying to prove and show that it is perfectly safe. And if you look very closely, they prove the exact opposite.
The simplest things, the brush by itself on the paint, with no dirt on the paint, by itself moving around, probably is possible that it's not going to create damage, depending on how you hold the brush.
It's possible.
However,
but I can guarantee you that there will be paints where it's not.
I worked in the car wash. I have pre-washed between 50,000 and 100,000 cars by using that brush as well. Because if you go into a tunnel car wash and it's Saturday, the speed of the chain goes faster, meaning that the brushes have less time. So the car is passing, the brushes go to the back of the car, and the car's already too far in front to take the little pieces in the license plate and the bumper part. So that's the part you do with the brush and what they do in the car wash. And I tell you that I switched at some point with microfiber. Even with microfiber it's scratched because it's not the material that's scratching, it's what you are moving around on the car. Yeah. And in a car wash, people wait way too long to wash their car, so you have stuck dirt and the moving of that dirt. With microfiber, you at least have something that's taking in the dirt. It's a level of absorption of the dirt, or the dirt is going somewhere that is not being touched, and that brush is always moving dirt around. Every single brush scratches because of the dirt it's moving around. Yep. The dirt is not going anywhere, it's displacement. It's like moving.
But then again, if you use it in conjunction with an absolutely amazing rinseless, then it should not happen.
Yeah, I've done it with lubrication. I've tried everything. Encapsulation, separation. I've done it all, and if you see the videos, it's so cringe how they hold the brush. You can see they are holding the brush in the first time in their life. If you are washing a car, you are standing, and I've done truck wash, everything, and you're standing, you have the brush, the car's here, you brush like this. You don't brush like this.
And you don't brush like
that's not how you brush.
Barely touching the paint.
You look like a retard using that brush on that type of a surface. You absolutely look retarded.
I still want to try and get that brush. It's a little bit difficult for me in Europe. And do a proper test. Maybe we're wrong. We're wrong.
No.
We will see.
No. You did not invent a new type of fiber or a new type of, I don't know, hair that is not, it's the displacement of the dirt. You can use traffic film removers that go beyond pH 14, let's say that pH 19, pH 20, there will still be dirt left. Some dirt is not sticking to the surface because of chemistry, it's sticking because of static electricity, static dust, static dirt. And that dirt needs to be physically removed. And the choice of what tool to remove that dirt is going to determine how much of a scratch is. Are you going to do it with a hammer? Dirt will be gone, we will have damage. You use a brush, dirt will be gone, there will be damage.
Again, wouldn't it be so much smarter to call that brush something else, not the perfectly safe brush, and then let people be surprised by how little scratches it creates compared to others?
I think it's
much smarter. Positive surprise is so much better than putting wild claims out there, which you absolutely for sure know will not hold up. On the other hand, maybe this is a strategy on its own. Maybe putting wild claims out there that you know will make people talk about your product is a strategy on its own.
I'm still,
I still think Ivan is a marketing genius and he knows exactly what he's doing, putting wild claims out there, because he knows then people will talk about it.
It's the most cringiest thing I've seen in the industry so far. That brush being moved by an influencer. You see he's holding it in his hand for the first time in his life, and then also explaining you have to use this angle. Dude, it's a fucking broom on a stick. You're not wiping the floor, you are wiping a surface. There's no fucking difference moving this back and forth than the side of a car. It's unreal.
If we take a step back and be fair, I think the main issue with all the tests I have seen so far is that they are not cohesive enough.
And not
maybe it's safe on one type of paint in that specific case. A well-maintained car, hard paint, maybe even ceramic coated. You're using the brush as it was intended for it to be used, with enough lubrication, with not enough pressure. Maybe in the best case scenario, it is actually safe. But that's not a fair assessment, and that again goes back to proper testing. You should also test it on a soft paint without paint protection, with a lot of pressure and no or bad lubrication, because then you have the whole picture, and then the viewer of that review can decide for themselves, do I trust the product or not?
I can call them all out. Every single one of you that used that brush in a video, you lied about the results. You used the light, you lied about the light. You use a metallic surface on the outside where you use the light close to the surface, where you're not getting the state of the paint, you're getting the reflection of the metallic flakes, showing that there is absolutely no damage. But as soon as the light goes back and you take less of the flash of the light and less of the reflection, you will see the damage. And I am 100% sure, and all of you have done this. All of you have sold out by showing something incredibly stupid, kicking back the industry 10 years, because 10 years ago we were using brushes and we found out that that was not the best way to go. Now 10 years later we try to introduce another brush that is supposedly perfectly safe. I mean, seriously, for fuck's sake, what the fuck are we doing? I mean, seriously, what are we doing?
Trying to be different, I guess. If I take a step back and think about why is a brand introducing such a product, trying to be different, getting talked about.
I mean, seriously. There's the only case where you would use a brush is where it becomes the most safe option. So if everything else is more dangerous or more damaging, then the brush becomes. But if there is something available that you can use that creates less damage, you will go for that.
We have brushes with microfiber on it.
Yeah.
They exist and have existed for quite a long time.
Yeah. We make like a condom thing with Chanel microfibers that you can wrap around, and then that still also scratches.
Create scratches.
You know, you are moving dirt around, and as soon as you create friction, you are creating scratches.
I'm pretty sure if I research long enough, I will find a snippet, a video part where Ivan says the illusion of the scratch-free car wash is exactly that, an illusion. I'm pretty sure I could find it, but...
Probably you can also find a sentence where he says that you need a drying aid because your microfiber might scratch the surface. And then he introduces a brush that doesn't scratch. Interesting.
Yeah.
That's why these words from these influencers mean absolutely fuck all unless we add some proof to the actual claims. It's just words. And remember, because of marketing, everything has already been said. If we make now, if Labocosmetica makes a product and it is truly, by definition, chemistry, user experience, everything, the best in the world, there is nothing left that we can say that has not already been said by another brand or been claimed by another brand.
True.
Epic, legendary, awesome is broken. Everything, the best of, is this the best? Might this be the best? The GOAT, I don't know what else. It has been overused so much that words have lost their value. Even comments, I don't even think about comments anymore because I found out that a comment is not something like an opinion, it's a thought that became physical through typing. People don't have to mention the words, so they will be easily typing something very negatively, but if you stand in front of the person, they are not able to pronounce these words and say the same words. Yeah. So they're literally transferring thoughts into their fingers, become physical in the form of a comment under a video. No based on facts, objective looking, they're just a negative thought, and then that's it.
And an insult is an insult. So we, as the viewers and listeners saw and heard, we are very critical with some personalities in this industry. But I will, on the other hand, also not accept insults. So in the Facebook group I run, if I see an insult against Ivan or Pan, I will delete it and I will call the person out or even kick them out of the group, because those are two different things, being critical and being insulting. Yeah. One is okay, one is not okay.
The rule, the unbelievable mountain of ignorance that people choose. And I'm saying stupid doesn't exist because stupidity is a choice. Ignorance, on the other hand, stupidity is a choice. You can stay stupid or you can learn from your mistakes and become smarter.
That's a bold statement, Reggie.
Yeah, stupidity is a choice, 100%. You can read a book, you can become smarter, you can become more educated. These days you have AI. My God, you can do 5 minutes of research in AI that saves you 2 hours on Google. And I'm not saying that AI is the truth, but that will get you closer to the direction instead of listening to these overblown, money-hungry, capitalistic pieces of shit that are influencing this industry with their bullshit.
Reggie's in a good mood today. I just saw, when I looked at the list of episodes, we also talked about, in a recap way, about the testing versus showboating episode that we did.
Yeah.
We talked about that.
Yeah.
And in order to, I think, close this episode, let's also talk about our very first one, Gloss, the biggest lie of the detailing industry. Because there's a very, very current example of that we just talked about yesterday. You did a video the day before where you proved that your Amorios ceramic coating for matte PPF does not add gloss.
Yeah.
You did so by applying it to a PPF surface, a matte and a satin one. You did the readings with the gloss meter, and you showed that the coating actually did not create the 60-degree angle and 20-degree angle gloss. Then I did a comment under that video and said, Reggie, we need to talk. I have a critical comment.
And what was the critical comment?
Yesterday I told you that if you tell a consumer that is not into car care at all that your product does not create gloss on a matte surface, is it that that person actually expects it to not add gloss, or is it that he does not want the surface to change in any way, shape, or form? Because in your video, you also clearly showed, and Son, you mentioned it to be fair, that there was a darkening effect visible. There was a clear line where you applied the coating. And my critical question...
on the roof you see it very
exactly,
clearly.
And my critical question to you was, is that fair to the consumer to point out that it does not add gloss when it does actually create a change in the appearance?
Yeah, it was a darkening, enriching, and trying to find the right word to describe it. That is something, there you can see that there was something before and after. So the change of appearance is there, true. The level of the appearance is then debatable in the subjective range from I think it's really dark to somebody said, okay, there's a little darkening, but the fact is that there's something changed.
But your reply was, which is also factually correct, if you apply it to the whole car, the customer will not see the before and after. He will not see the darkening. He will most likely see a surface which looks really good and still is satin or matte.
Yeah.
And then that goes back to the first episode that we did, the gloss episode. And I think now we have a perfect summary and recap of the first 2 years of our podcast. Did you enjoy the podcast so far?
Yes.
Are you happy we did it?
I am somewhat happy, and then I think today is the first time, because I know we are closing season 1, so to speak. Let's say chapter 1 of season 1 from Veritas podcast. Today I've cursed more than I have done ever, but I'm seriously holding back. I'm seriously holding back because
we still do.
I am let's consider you guys to be happy that I'm still wearing this shirt, because if the day comes, if let's say a apocalypse happens and I'm no longer working for this company, I'm going to go all out. I am going to make sure that everything is going to get exposed to the level that it needs to be exposed. Right now, I want to give everybody the opportunity to make a business. If you want to build a brand, I'm never going to say that you're not allowed to make that brand, but make sure that the eagle eyes are watching and people are knowing what you're doing. And one day you will be held accountable. Even if it's not by me, you will be held accountable, and you will have your judgment day for all the things that you have done, all the lies that you have told, all the negative things that you have done. Your judgment day will come. It's either going to be me or the other one, but definitely that day will come. Sorry, is that kind of negative to end the podcast with?
It's not.
It sounds like a threat. It's not. It's simply, I love the truth.
It's in the spirit of this podcast. So we started the podcast. I mean, it's in the name. It's Veritas. It's the truth in Latin. And we try to, I mean, at the end of the day, it's almost like we're trying to be a counterweight to all the bullshit and nonsense and claims that are out there. And I think it needs to be done. We are definitely not the only ones who are doing it. There are many others. Jimbo, for example, has also a good podcast where he talks about a lot of that stuff. There are other podcasts which try to do the same thing. And I think it's even more necessary than when we started, because sometimes we both have the feeling it gets better. It's mostly when we see one good example in a Facebook group where somebody is actually critical and asks a question, but for every one of those posts we see 20 others where we think it's not getting better.
No.
So I think it's more necessary than ever. We will continue to do so. Reggie just said we are finishing season 1. That does not mean that season 2 will be something completely different. We have more than enough topics and a huge list of topics that we still want and will talk about. We will just have to see when we have time to record those episodes.
Definitely it's going to be 2026. Yeah, the day of recording we are at 12, 13 December, 14 December, something like this.
And I think this one will drop this year, and then we will see when the other ones drop. Yeah. At the end of the day, I want to thank you that you were willing to do that podcast with me.
Same.
Let's also thank Labocosmetica, who is at the end of the day the sponsor of this podcast, but also has the guts to do that. They did not once interfere with us or told us to not talk about a topic or told us that one of the topics we talked about was too spicy. Not a single time. And I don't think that there are many brands out there who would be willing to do that. You have to so make let's thank Labocosmetica at
definitely
this
absolutely
point in time.
This is very important. The pioneers in spreading the right word, very important, and also being open for criticism. I will
absolutely.
I will be the first one to admit that if I do something wrong or do something stupid, that it's going to be me. I know that I become a better person from making mistakes, definitely, also from the stupid mistakes. The challenge is not to remake the same mistakes.
Exactly. And please, we are still open. So if we said something that was factually not correct, please tell us. Write us an email, a comment, whatever. Get in contact with us. If you were insulted by what we said, also get in contact with us. We are not the devil. We are absolutely willing to accept that we make mistakes, that we sometimes go too far. But just get in contact with us. You can actually talk with us.
Don't worry.
And every single time, that's my experience, every single time when you are very critical with someone, you have a public discussion with someone, as soon as you talk directly to persons, it usually resolves in a good way.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the story of this podcast, how it started.
Absolutely.
Listen to I think we called it episode 0, how this podcast started. It started out of a conflict. And it turned into something rather beautiful.
Yeah. I hope that more and more will get on the ship of trying to find the real things about and trying to keep exposing the brands. The same for us. If you find anything that Labocosmetica said or does that is absolutely reflecting anything but the truth, then you should tell, and it's your responsibility to tell that to the brand that they are doing something wrong and that they have to improve.
Like when they claim that their ceramic coating for matte does not change the surface.
Creates gloss. Gloss in gloss units. Creates gloss. I never said anything about didn't change the surface. I said gloss. Factually.
Actually, good example this year, and with that we will finish. You introduced Varius, the bottle is back there. You completely undersold this product. We did some videos about it. I did also some further testing, and the more I used it, the more impressed I was, because it was completely underwhelming when I first heard about the product, because you are, I would say, more of a professional brand. You work with concentrates, and then you come out with a ready-to-use APC. Mm-hmm. I did not expect to like the product as much as I did. You completely undersold it, because we now find out that it does actually a lot more than what you promised and showed. And I think that should be a good example of how it is done. True. Undersell those products and let people find out that they are actually amazing.
Yeah, and those follow-up videos are going to be epically they are going to be
You
great.
already did one.
Yeah, one follow-up video is already, and then we will find that there's a lot of befores and afters from other detailers that have found ways to use this product successfully. A couple of them are going to be nice to look at.
And I guess that was always our goal. We start with a critical topic, we talk about critical topics, and then it turns into something positive. And I think if you as a brand owner take one thing with you from this episode, then we think it's much more intelligent to undersell and underpromise and then overdeliver.
Yeah.
Much more intelligent. Stop the claim-based marketing nonsense. Hopefully. We still hope. For the viewers, thank you for watching. For the listeners, thank you for listening. And we hope to hear and see you in the next podcast. Bye.
Ciao.